Peace and blessings. I hope all is well. I want to come on here today and I want to talk about, and today is January the 5th, Thursday, January the 5th. If I'm correct, no, January the 6th. It's Thursday, January the 6th, 2021. Um, I want to come on here and talk about Venus and Scorpio. Hmm. Well, if you have Venus and Scorpio, Um, you can have a tendency. I'm gonna touch up on all the other signs as well, by the way, and other placements. But if you have Venus and Scorpio, and I'm gonna touch up on them in separate videos, by the way. But if you have Venus and Scorpio, you can have a tendency to be. It's like you can have a tendency to encounter experience with people, whereas you're gonna see sides to them, whereas other people may not see often. Whereas, like for example, like people may see what they're displaying as the good side, or whatever the case is, or what they portraying to be. But on the other hand, it's more so like you may end up seeing a person's bad side. Let me give an example. If you are dealing with someone from a if you're dealing with someone from a car dealership and that person appearing to be, because let's say if that person is giving you the runaround from their car dealership, their car salesman, right? And let's say they're setting up there and they're up there constant pressure you about doing something, getting something. You doing your best to get it, right? But it's like when you was purchasing the car, when you was purchasing the car, then they were more so, how can I put this? It's like they appeared more so, just like with other people, appeared like to be a good person, like to be a charming person, you know. But as time went along, when as they giving you the runaround for to get this or that, then you get them a call. Let's say if you were to get them a telephone call or something, right? And they were to be, and then you want to tell them about this and that. Then next thing you know, you hear them setting up there like impulsive, started to become impulsively like snapping at you on the phone and stuff like that. That's that's what, when you have a lot of Scorpio in your chart and your Venus is Scorpio, that's what you're gonna deal with. Especially if it's in the seventh house, or partnerships, or or exchanges with others people, or dealing with others, because seventh house represents dealings with other people, or it could be, or the 10th house. More than likely you're gonna see these people dark side with no if, ands, or buts. You're gonna see these people dark sides one way or another. It don't have to be their necessarily their dark side. It could be things like they may appear and portray to have this or that going on. Like for example, hell, they may appear like they got it going on, like they got their whole life together, like they living in a mansion and things of that nature. Then this thing you know, you kind of find out they're living in the Airbnb and they're renting. That's Venus. that we when you have Venus and Scorpio, that's what you gotta be. Or you have a lot of Scorpio in your chart. That's what you're gonna be dealing with. I know it's funny as hell, but that's what you're gonna be dealing with. That's not the only thing, but you're gonna encounter experiences with people, whereas you may have to, whereas you know you may encounter experience with people who are jealous, because Venus and Scorpio deals with their own shadow. It's similar like Lilith. It deals with the shadow. It's it because it is triggering something within that person's subconscious, some way, shape, form. And then guess what? These people, they might show you a side to them that they never. Those people whose shadows you're triggering, they or whatever you're triggering their shadow, they may show you a side of them that they barely ever show to other people. Probably if it's a few. Like for example, they may be jealous. They may become possessive. I remember. See, I have Venus in Scorpio. I remember when I dealt with another Venus. I was dating a Venus in Scorpio last year, right? So I date. Well, no, it wasn't last year. It was year before last. Yeah, was it year before last? Yeah, it was year before last when I dated a Venus in Scorpio. Or was it last year? Which one was it? Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it was year before last. That's right. That's right. Cause we're 2022 now. This was back here in 2020. Yeah. So I dated another Venus in Scorpio, right? Hey, so I hate to say this, but Venus and Scorpio, some Venus and Scorpios can be hard to please too. That's why you have to, cause see, that's why they don't match up with everyone. It's only with the right pair that they match up with. See, I dated another Venus and Scorpio, right? And this Venus and Scorpio person were, I mean, they appeared like, cause see, here's the thing: people with like Scorpio, your chart of Venus and Scorpio, or did you either your life could be consumed, or they will consume your life in some way, shape, form. So I'm setting up there. I went to meet the person. I went back to my old hometown to meet the person because we met online. Okay, everything's all good. Carried themselves well and had this shit together. But let me tell you something. How about that person was sitting up there calling themselves trying to control me, trying to tell me what to wear and stuff. I like, I know, fuck to the now. I know the hell not. And so I kind of felt like a distant type feeling afterwards. That's not the only thing. Another thing that I felt were another thing that I felt were I don't know. It's like I said, I felt this cold and distant type feeling. It's like they were being controlling. And here's the thing about me. I don't like to be controlled. I don't like to be controlled. I don't like to be dominated. You know, don't get me wrong. Man, maybe in bed, I wouldn't mind trying some things, but you know, um, and allowing the person to have their chance to, you know, dominate or whatever in terms of whatever we decide to do sexually. But my thing is, overall, I can't stand to be dominated. I cannot be dominated. I don't like to be dominated. That's the thing. I like to be the dominant one. You know. So my thing is I don't like to be controlled. And I don't like to be dominated overall. And I definitely don't like to be controlled, in terms of being told what to do and things of that nature. Because I move to the beat of my own drum. I'm my own self-governing body. So with that being said, I move to the beat of my own drum, right? So when that person done that, then that person told me that they were hard to please. So, okay. Some people, I remember I was telling someone about this was it was like I should have asked them what should don't ask them, what they meant by that. I look at it like this. And I don't give a damn what they meant by, I don't give a damn, what they meant by, they're hard to please, when they said they're hard to please. Because my thing is, why didn't that person disclose that to me before I left my state to go see them at my other hometown in my other state, in the other state that I was raised in as well? So when that person told me that, you think that when it was time to go that day when they came for me to head back home, you think I ain't hauled ass out of there? I hauled ass and then looked back and I told the person that I wanted to cut the connection. Now, don't get me wrong. I learned some things from that experience. I learned some things. I learned some things. Maybe probably could have been worked out. I was dissecting it and rationally in a rational sense, and I say, okay, some things could have been worked out. But I was looking at it what that experience would teach me overall, and what that experience was teaching me overall was that subconsciously, okay, it's like okay, and what I was manifesting at the time, that's not what I wanted. That's not exactly what I want, because what was in my subconscious is that I can have a tendency. I mean, I'm a dominant person. So with that being said, why in the hell would I need to get with another dominant person? That's like power struggles. I mean, that person and I, we gotta end up clashing. That's a power struggle. That person and I, we gonna clash. So with that being said, I need some. It's like okay, I would need someone who would not allow me to dominate and they'll accept my dominance, but I can allow them to dominate sometimes as well, but not not dominating to the point you know, whereas not I wouldn't just say dominate. They'll be dominating me all the time. Don't get me wrong. I'm always open to criticism or constructive criticism and things of that nature. I'm talking about dominating in terms of, you know, I don't mind for them letting them take turns, letting them make decisions, wanting to treat me on dates, take the initiative in sex, initiating when it comes to initiating sexual activity. Same thing with me. I like to initiate sexual activity, you know, deciding like, okay, hey, how about this? How about we go out for a dinner? How about we go out for a movie? How about we plan trips and things of that nature? I can even initiate, in terms of kissing and, showing affection, things of that nature. And I would like for the other person, we take turns doing that. But like I said, I don't like nobody who is completely dominating. No, no, because the thing is, if a person try to come to me or want to date me and they're completely and they're trying to completely dominate or trying to completely control me, control me to the point where I cannot maintain my own sense of self. I'll get me wrong, you can help me with change and evolution and things of that nature, and help me embrace my full potential, just like how I help them embrace their full potential. But on the other hand, when you setting up there coming in and trying to hinder me and suppress me of my own individuality, no, I don't need that. No, that's one way for whereas I'm gonna haul ass. So when that person done that, I didn't look back since. Mm mm mm. But I felt that spiritually that was an eye opener moment for me, that subconsciously, like, you're that what that person reflected back to you, what that person reflected back to me, that was me subconsciously. That's what that person reflecting back to me. Because Venus and Scorpios can have a tendency of being possessive. They can have a tendency to be controlling if you let them. And here's the thing, they're not for the weak. They're not for Venus and Scorpios are not for the weak. Mm-mm. You gotta be able to hold your own. You gotta be able to hold your own in a sense. Don't get me wrong, allow them to you can allow them to be the dominant one. Even though sometimes you can be the dominant one, but also you gotta be confident too. You got to be confident, because if you don't, they're gonna eat you alive. And not only just that, Venus and Scorpios, because they can be pretty intense people. Cause they crave intensity. They can be pretty intense people. Um, They like to merge. They like to merge as one. They like to merge as one. They do good when they financially. They'll do good when they come down to sharing other people's finances. Sharing other people's resources. Sharing resources instead of going at them alone, going at it alone. The opposite sign, Taurus, that's what Taurus is for. Taurus is about building your own and going at it alone. Scorpio, it's just like people. People who have a lot of Scorpio in their chart, or people who have like their North Node is Scorpio. They have to, that's the lesson they have to learn. They have to learn to not only compromise, they have to share all the way how they can be financially stable. Is that they do joint financial ventures partnerships. You know, they could be dealing with you know, or with people inheritance, sharing other people money, sharing other people resources. That's how their financial problems are eased. And normally that ease when they come down, they get into partnerships or relationships or marriages. Their financial problem ease a lot. But other than that, also going in the long, even though they're not gonna have any, they're not gonna have a financial drought. Sometimes they may suffer that, and or sometimes they're gonna suffer financial hardships. But that reason being is for to teach them that, which with that Taurus South Node, if they're aligning with the Taurus energy, is that it's not always good to go it alone. You have to be open to sharing, partnering up, sharing, compromising. Because the seventh house deal is about dealings with other people. Not only just that, but Venus and Scorpios, they can have a tendency to be also be into things like drug dealing, gang activity, drug dealing. They definitely can be drug dealers because the seventh house is about exchanges, about what goes out and it comes back in. You know, especially if that Venus is Scorpio, the fifth or the seventh house. You know, it could be about what goes out, what goes out and it comes back in, transactions. That's what that can be about. So they can have a tendency to be drug dealers or gang members, or they can be part of gangs and things of that nature. Like they can send out somebody, they can send out, or it could be they can send out somebody and they can have, like, in terms of in a revengeful sense, and have that person to bring that person back, that target that they're aiming for. It's different things. um but I will tell you this one thing about them, because Venus is Scorpio. Venus is uncomfortable with this. Is Scorpio, it's a detriment. It's very complex. Venus and Scorpio is very complex. They can be misunderstood. That's why they do better with people who will understand them at a deeper level. Um, because when the thing is, when here's the thing, because they can be pretty intense emotionally and sexually, but definitely emotionally they can be intense. I will tell you this: once you won them over, when you got them, you got them. Unless you really give them a reason for the lead, once you got them, you got them. They would even get the Venus and Scorpios. Venus and Scorpios, we would even give you the shirt off our back. Like, we'll give you the shirt off our back. We will trust you with our secrets because we don't trust everybody with our secrets and things of that nature. We would give you the shirt off our back. Whatever you fall short on, we got it. We want you to reciprocate that same thing back to us. I'm talking about it not in the pretending sense, but I'm talking about in the true genuine sense. But I'm gonna tell you this: when pissing them people off, it can be hell to pay. When pissing off Venus and Scorpios, or when betrayed them, it can be hell to pay. Um, You know, one of the things not to do to a Venus and Scorpio is to hold back. It's to hold back sexually. Never hold back sexually with a Venus and Scorpio because they're gonna lead them to cheating. It means you're gonna be the gave them a reason to cheat. It's like when they devoted to that particular person, especially that person they find as the right pair, that make a right pair, the right match for them. It's like they're gonna give you all. They're gonna devote all their sexual energy to you. Like they're gonna devote all their sexual energy to you. It's like they're gonna invest their all. It's like it's gonna be so deep to the point whereas it's no point in returning. I'm gonna tell you something. Let me tell you something. Venus and Scorpio. Okay, some celebrities that have Venus and Scorpio that was commonly that was together. I believe that's why they was had those associations and those encounters and they was sticking together and stuff. Tank had his Venus and has his Venus and Scorpio. I think he is retrograde. Jamie Foxx has his Venus and Scorpio. Gene Y have his Venus and Scorpio, and what other persons that they have a Venus and Scorpio? Who else is that? Let me see. Tank, Gene Y, Tyrese, Tank, Gene Y, Tyrese, Jamie Foxx. All of them had a Venus and Scorpio, but except Tank have his Venus retrograde in Scorpio. Here's the thing about with Venus retrograde in Scorpio versus a Venus in Scorpio. Venus in Scorpio is either black or white with them. Versus a Venus retrograde in Scorpio, it's more so like they could be conflicted within in terms about what they want. So when it come down to Venus and Scorpio, when it come down to Venus and Scorpio, because I noticed that connection that they have together, and Scorpio deals with taboo as well. Venus deals with pleasures. Scorpio deals with taboo, right? So Venus here going into uncomfortable territory with a lot of uncomfortable activities, right? So with that being said, Tank, I heard that. Now I don't know how true it is. I heard this from a person's YouTube channel. I'm not gonna call the names, but I heard it from a person's YouTube channel. See, I don't keep up with celebrities like that and celebrity trends, cause me personally, I always look at the end of the day, they're people just like we are. So I don't. Only difference is their finances, their activities that they have going on in their life and their status, you know, um, reputation and status. Um, so when it come down with, um, I heard that Tank from a YouTuber that Tank and Jamie Foxx, when Tank was first coming into the entertainment business, Jamie Foxx had sat up there and offered Tank to come stay with him. Allegedly, let me say allegedly, offer him to come stay with him. And with Tank offered, with Jamie Foxx offered Tank to come stay with him to use his studio, people were suspecting that something went on. And see, if that's the case, I'm not saying that it is allegedly, but allegedly, if that's the case, that goes back to the point where I was talking about that. We see when you're dealing with Venus and Scorpios, or people like Scorpio in the chart, they're gonna offer you something, but at the same time, it's gonna consume your life in some way, and you better best believe that it's some type of price that you may have to pay in return. It all depends. It's some type of price behind the way you have to pay in return. So, if that being said, if this allegedly happened, so it by would be suspecting that, well, of course he was expecting something in return. If this were allegedly, Jamie Foxx probably was suspecting something in return. for letting that man come stay with him and use his studio and help him get into the business. He probably was suspecting. He probably suspected in return, probably like something dealing with probably something sexual or whatever. Cause here's the thing: even in some cases, when you get Venus and Scorpios together, they're gonna get into some things whereas it's considered taboo or it's considered an abomination. Was society considered an abomination? They may get into some type of things or some type of illegal activity. They may get into some type of things. It can either be sex, it can be drug dealing, it can be prostitution, because they can even have people, they can even have, especially if it's placed in the fifth or the seventh house or the 11th house, it can, or second house, it can have people, it can be dealing with prostitution, whereas they can be prostituting, or they can have other people out, they can have other people prostituting, for them and bringing them in the money. So it can deal with that as well. It can deal with a lot of things dealing with the underworld, and they're good at seducing you as well. I'm not talking about just only sexual, because when people think about seduction, there's different forms of seduction. It's not just sexually; it's mentally, even spiritually. Different forms of seduction is there. That's like a weapon up there. It's similar, just like the Lilith energy. Especially if you have Lilith in the first house. It's just like Lilith energy. Um, and then Venus and Scorpio can deal with power. So depending on how it aspected, you have to be careful when giving over your personal power to. You have to be careful with that, because you may have a tendency to give your personal power over to others, or other people may get that personal power on over to you, especially if it's in the, if you have Venus and Scorpio in the seventh house, you can have trouble. It's about your power probably been taken away from you in the early life, and you have to take it back, because it could deal with power. And you have to learn to, and then it's about Scorpio's about how you project it out, and then the shadow that you projecting out, and that's what's within you, because you may have a tendency of relying on other people's power, or whoever that person is may have a tendency of relying on your power. And what happened is that their own sufficiency, but they have to learn to embrace that within first, or you have to learn to embrace that within first. Like I said, depending on where all it placed at, it's what it is. And of course, with that Scorpio energy, even Venus is Scorpio, or with that Scorpio energy, is by using what you got to get what you want. The art of, which is like the art of, keeping your mouth shut on some things. Like, for example, you may connect with some powerful people, who have a family that owns a business or whatever, or some badass dudes, some badass girls, and next thing you know, some badass females, some badass men, especially they cute as fuck, they're nice looking. You talking about like a handsome ass dude that is sharp and nice looking and erotic. I mean, he's exotic looking, you know. Same thing like with a female. And you pull them tight. You pull those kind. But see, here's the thing. You may even attract, you know, because you attract people like that. But see, sometimes, here's the thing. You encounter those connections, whereas you may not, like, you don't need to rush them. You need to allow them to unfold to see where it go, because Scorpio represents mysteriousness. So you need to see where they unfold and how they unfold, because which is the art of keeping your mouth shut on some things. It's because of and secrecy, because it can lead to places that you never imagined. Especially with a particular person, it can lead to places where you never ever imagined. or you never imagine the connection going to, or wherever it is. So that's what that is there. Because with Venus and Scorpio, it's like it's either black or white. It's not 50 shades of gray. That's what's set in the middle, like Libra. With Venus and Scorpio, it's like, or with Scorpio energy, especially Venus and Scorpio, it's black or white. Hot or not, black or white. It's a yes or a no. There's no maybe in it. You know, but one thing about us, Venus and Scorpio, when we got your back, we got you. You win us over, we got you. We got you. We got you. You got us. We ain't gonna let nobody fuck with you. We got you. We got you in all the ways possible. Cause Venus and Scorpio consist of love, lust, obsession, and that deep emotional bond. It's like the right quantities, but it's like a mixed drink. In a sense, like as your angelic carbon say, a mixed drink, but with all the right quantities in it. It's what it is. But as I stated, it's not for everybody. It's for the right pair. It's for the right pair. It's not for everyone. Venus and Scorpios are not built for everyone. And here's the thing. When people encounter people with a lot of Scorpio in the chart or who have Venus and Scorpio, or those who you have it, those of you that have it, this is why people run from you. The reason why people run from you, not only in terms of friendships, but also in terms of romantic relationships, the reason why they tend to run from you is because of that's the house of hidden enemies. Scorpio, eighth house of hidden enemies. Um, because the eighth house is to me the foundation of the eighth house is fear. As your angelic karma said, is fear, which is true. I remember she was saying that the foundation of the eighth house is fear, and it makes sense because that was Scorpio deals with the shadow, and the shadow consists of fear. That's what that is, because you fear what's in the subconscious. It's like you project it. It's like you portray one thing, but it's another thing projected out, which is being reflected back to you by through other people. So Scorpio, so the foundation of the eighth house is fear. And I'm talking about in the astrological sense because see, in astronomy, Scorpio deals with the number nine. Both Scorpio and Aries deals with the number nine. Because actually, when it comes down to number eight, eight is connected with Saturn. That's the Capricorn and Aquarius energy. But in astrology, it's connected with Pluto. See that, and see, astronomy and astrology are two different things. Those are two different systems. Even though astronomy was founded first before astrology, those are two different systems. People call astrology pseudoscience, but when you really look at it, astrology is just as real as it can be, just like with astronomy. And when you go into people charts and stuff and look at these transits, it just proves it how real it is. Even though you may or may not accept it, and and people look at it like ways it can manifest, but I think it has some type of, because it goes back to when you look at it like with quantum physics and things of that nature, the planetary effects and the energies and stuff. But back to why I will talk about that another day, you know. But back to what I was saying, when it comes down to Venus and Scorpio, as I stated, or when it comes down with people who have a lot of Scorpio in their chart, the reason why people run from you is because those people they fear what's in their own shadow. that you're gonna, cause see, you're gonna trigger something. You have the ability and a natural gift to trigger something that's within that own person's shadow, that's within that person's shadow. Just like how a person can do it with you, but you have the ability to help that person face their own inner demons, which they're afraid to face. It's like they want change, but they don't want to give up something in order for change to happen. And Scorpio is a fixed sign just like Taurus, Leo, and Aquarius. And see, that's what fixed signs does. They want change, but they don't want to give up something in order for change to happen. So they have to give up something in order for change to happen. Or make some type of sacrifice or adjustment to sacrifice, which is what the mutable signs comes next teaches us. That's why people run, because they're afraid to face what's in their own shadow, or deal with what's in their own shadow. They're afraid to, how can I put this? My nose itching. They're afraid to, yeah, because they're afraid to accept what's in their own shadow. They're afraid to acknowledge it. They're afraid to whatever this repress. They're afraid to acknowledge it. They're afraid to merge with it. They're afraid to heal. They're afraid to own it and embrace it. They want to keep it suppressed instead. It's what it is. They want to own it and embrace it. It's what they, I mean, they don't want to own it and embrace it. Which is that's what, because what that's why I said whenever you count to a Scorpio is for, or people allow Scorpio in a chart, is for transformational purposes. And that actually one of the main reasons why. Due to the shadow work. So they can help you acknowledge, so they can help you acknowledge, integrate, own, instead of repressing or suppressing, own, embrace. It's part of helping you embrace your own full potential. Of a person embracing your own full potential. That's those are the type of people they are. I look back at my chart and I was like, that's one of the things I feel that that's like there'll be like a match anyway. Someone who have some Scorpio energy in their chart, or there could be a Scorpio who have Scorpio energy in their chart. Because me, that would help me embrace my own, that would help me embrace my full potential, just like how I do with them. And they would be consistent with it. And they would mind going deep with me. They would not be the type they'll run. They would not run. They'll want to go deep. Just like how they'll be able to understand things at a deep level. They'll be able to understand me well, just like how I understand them. We would not feel misunderstood, and there will be consistency there. But here's the problem to that as well. It's about transformation. The problem to that as well is that, because see, by me being a Sagittarius sign, the problem is with that is I like for there to be change. I like for there to be change. I like so with that being said, we have that all that fixed energy there. That's gonna make it hard for you to evolve, because there gonna be some grudges being hold, some unforgiveness. It's like all that heavy energy when you want to have fun within your relationship and around your relationship or partnership or whatever the case is. But as I stated, that's why people run from you. And also another thing, the reason why people envy you, the reason why people envy you is because it's just like with Lilith. People who have Lilith, it's similar, just like what they go through. The reason why people envy you, that's why I say it's semi-plutonic energy with Lilith. People have Lilith in the first house. The reason why you people gonna envy you is because those people, you trigger something within that person's shadow that person failed to acknowledge, or they project whatever issue on you could do to this happen. Not only that, but those people, they it's something about you that triggers something within their shadow. It's something about that they want. It's like that they want, but they don't know how to express it. They don't know how to address it properly. So what they're gonna do is that they're gonna display it other ways, whether it's through hate or love, both love and hate, or whatever the case is, because it's something about you either that they want, or you trigger something within their own shadow, and nobody else could not trigger that for real but you. You have the ability to do that. Okay, it will teach you. You will also learn power games as well. You will go through situations about power games, and when it comes down to the power games, it teaches you not to. You're not always supposed to turn the other cheek. You're supposed to provide that balance, just like with Scorpio energies in general. You're supposed to provide that balance. You are karma. Because that's the side, Scorpio society come after Libra. Libra is the scales. It's about balance and Pluto. Scorpio comes after Libra. Then you got Mars and Pluto. Because Scorpio teaches about duality. Pluto about light and darkness, transforming those, or transmuting. Scorpio, Sagittarius teach you about transmutation as well, because it's the sign come after Scorpio, when in terms of transformation, evolving and transformation, and Pluto teaches you about execution. They're just like with a Saturn return. It's not just due to the Saturn transits, because Saturn is the karmic judge and the taskmaster, but Pluto is the executioner. Jupiter's what help bring things up. Like the Wheel of Fortune in reverse in the tarot deck, it bring things up. Whether it's for the good or a bad, but it's for a higher purpose. Meanwhile, with Pluto is the executioner. Cause Pluto is like transform now, and then Scorpio be like, I'm gonna fight this transformation. But with Pluto, it's forced transformation. Like you don't have another choice. It's like to the point where it's similar like Saturn energy. It's karmic. It's gonna feel like a tight rope. It's gonna feel like a very tight rope. Like it's like a push pull type energy, and you in the middle, and it's wrapped around you. And it's gonna feel so tight to the point where you're gonna eventually gonna break down, and you're gonna end up coming back together, but in a different way. That's what that is. That's what that is. But this is what I want to come on here and talk about when it comes down to, because Scorpio, especially Venus and Scorpio, can deal with debt. It can deal with taxes. Yeah, that's why you have to stay on top of your taxes. If you have Venus, Scorpio, or a lot of Scorpio in your chart, you have to stay on top of your finances, on top of your taxes. Keep your taxes paid, because if not, eventually it can catch up with you at some point in life. Um, and like I said, it deals with other people's money. And it can even deal with like legal activities dealing with money, you know. So that's what it is. And even a heritage, you would have another way how you can have hidden enemies. You can have it could be people, your own family, fighting you, trying to fight you, or trying to do underhanded things to try to take whatever was left of you from you, or it could be your in-laws, family, or whoever associated with that person you was associated with, especially their inheritance was left up to you. It can even deal with lottery winnings and jackpot winnings too. Venus and Scorpio can deal with binging, like binging in terms of like, whereas you eating a lot, and you like you stuffing food in your mouth all at once. Some of them can be obsessed with death. They can be obsessed with discussing things like in terms of like bugs and things of that nature. They may tend to attract flies or a lot of spiders as well. They can tend to attract a lot of flies. They can tend to attract a lot of spiders as well. As stated, they can attract people who could be jealous, who could be possessive, manipulative, jealous, possessive, psychotic. Like they can, because it teaches them that about not that, because you go through lessons and it teaches you about, not trusting in things at face value is what it is. And then you may catch people who have a lot of Scorpio in their chart of Venus and Scorpios. You may catch them wearing shades a lot. Things like shades and stuff a lot. Like, may catch them wearing it on their eyes a lot. It's kind of put you in mind of someone who's alluring and enticing. It's just similar, just like with Lilith energy, like alluring and enticing. But see, the thing is with Lilith is that they will have a hard time earning life embracing that, but eventually they embrace that. Um, Especially with Scorpios, it's like you following somebody who is nice looking. It's like you looking at them as they're walking by, and then next thing you know, you following them. They keep looking back at you, and you following them into this room. They give you that look back, and then it's more so like they give you that sign for the follow them, and it's like you follow them, and because they can entice you basically. And what happened is that once you leave, you're gonna leave very transformed. You may be running back for more, or hell, it may turn out to be the other way. It may turn out to be another way around for you. But you're gonna leave in somewhere somehow. You're gonna leave in a very profound way. And then of course Scorpio is about, sex. Even with sex, a lot of people don't talk about this, but a lot of people don't notice, but it's like, because here's why some people they could be, how can I put this, they could be afraid of, sex. One of the reasons is they think they can even think in on some cases too. I'm not saying this the whole reason, but one of the reasons why they think that they dealing with someone else when it comes down to sex is because they, or one of the reasons why they be fearing this because they can tend to think in their head that, or fearing that they dealing with the whole, it's like they'll be dealing with the whole nother person, like that person's demon possessed or something in sex. It's like you're dealing with the whole nother person versus the person that you're dealing with when you started off and before sex. But it's like when it come down to really actually come down to sex, especially once it's getting intense, it's like you dealing with the whole nother person. That's how it is with sex in general. But I don't know if I was the only one noticed that, but it's like in sex it can seem kind of like you're dealing with a whole nother person. Then after that you kind of back dealing with the same person. But during sex it's like you're dealing with a whole nother person. Especially if they kinky as hell, and not only they kinky as hell, but also if they're pretty intense when it come down to sex and aggressive. It can seem like you're dealing with a whole nother person, a whole nother animal, like a whole nother person. That's Scorpio as well, which is called, I think it's called duality. I guess that's what I can use for it, but it's another term I want to use for it. It kind of make it seem like they're demon possessed, but they're not. But then again, when you look at it, some karmics, they can, some karmic soulmates, especially if you're going through a heavy karmic experience, when they put it down on you, well, it may seem like a, then again, some people do have demons attached to them, demonic energies attached to them. And it's like they can fuck you very well. They can fuck you very well. That way ass it'll drive you crazy of some sort. But like I said, it's like they're a whole different person. Like everything changes about them quick. It's like they're a whole different person than what you were dealing with before you all had sex. Then after sex, it's like they turn into a whole. They can be turned into a whole different person after sex and turn back to the person that they were before sex, like who their original is. But this is what I want to come on here and talk about. But until next time, peace and blessings, everyone.